There's a mitzvah in the Torah that says, "Same tasim alach melech," which means when the Jewish people come to the land of Israel, they should appoint for themselves a king. Now we find in Sefer Shmuel, when the Jewish people, they came to Shmuel Hanavi, and they asked him to appoint a king for themselves, we find that Shmuel Hanavi was displeased, and in fact, Hashem had the same response by saying that the Jewish people, they have despised me. So the commentaries ask, why did Hashem have a displeased response to the Jewish people wanting to appoint a king when the Torah itself gives them this mitzvah of appointing a king when they come to the land of Israel? It's one of the three mitzvahs they had when they entered the land. So Chassidus explains that when it comes to appointing a king, there are two elements. The first element is a basic level, and that is you appoint the king in order to have directives and the way people should behave and have a proper civil order. The second level of having a king is the king is privy to higher levels of godliness, being someone who stands above the people, and therefore is able to communicate those levels to the individual Jewish people and raise them up and let them have the ability to connect to these higher levels. So there's really two levels in having a king. Now when the Jewish people came to Shmuel Hanavi, they were not requesting the second level of a king, and that is having someone who stands above the people and help them reach a higher level of godliness more than they innately have, or to elevate whatever they are experiencing to this higher level that the king has the ability to bring them to. The Jewish people approached Shmuel Hanavi, they wanted a king. They said, Shoftim k'chol hagayim. He should be someone who will judge us like all the other nations. They have a king, we want one as well. And therefore, the response from Shmuel Hanavi was displeasure. He didn't like it. And so too Hashem said that they are despising me, because a Yid, the way he is innately and naturally, should be on a level that he doesn't need a king to help him on the basic levels. And the king should just be there to help him reach these higher levels of godliness, which refer to more fear of Hashem and more bittul, more self-nullification to what Hashem wants. So therefore, the response was with displeasure. But nevertheless, we find that Shmuel Hanavi did appoint Shaul HaMelech to be the king over the Jewish people, and the Yidden did have a king. And what we learn from this is that even though ideally the level of a king for the Jewish people should be there in place to help them reach the higher levels, anytime a Jew is lacking, Hashem will be there to help him reach this higher level and reach even the most basic level that seemingly he should have had on his own. And the lesson for us is that each one of us, we don't have kings nowadays. But the Gemara at the end of Maseches Gittin says, Man Malki Rabbanon, who are the kings nowadays? And the Gemara says it's the Rabbanon, the Rabbanim. And what that means for every individual is, it says in Pirkei Avos, Aseh lecha Rab. Every person should have for himself a mentor, a mashpia. He should have a Rab who can help him and guide him in his life. Now a person could say that when it comes to going to a Rab, I'm only going to speak with someone when it comes to lofty matters. But when it comes to seemingly mundane or lowly matters, it's not something that I'm going to consult with and confine with another individual, but I'll figure it out myself. And even though he sees that it's not getting better for a long time, nevertheless, he's hoping that one day he'll be able to handle it himself. So comes the Mishnah and tells us this directive that every person has to have for himself a Rab. And this Rab will serve like a Melech. And what does that mean? There's two levels. One, he'll help you get to higher levels of godliness that you couldn't have attained on your own. And on the second level, on a basic level, he'll be there to help you, direct you, and guide you even in things that seem mundane. And this is all a prelude to the coming of Mashiach, where we see that the Melech HaMashiach is going to be, on one hand, a Rav. He's going to be teaching Torah to Moshe Rabbeinu and the Abbes. And on the other hand, he's going to be the Melech HaMashiach, the king. So each one of us have this special power and special directive from the Torah this week to seek out someone who can be there for us, to objectively guide us and bring us to higher heights.